Evelyn, just be supportive of Madison, okay? Her mother's words stung worse than a slap. The humid Boston air hung heavy in the high school gymnasium. Rows of folding chairs stretched before the stage, smelling faintly of dust and floor wax. My stomach dropped. Madison's graduation practice. Another celebration of her. Meanwhile, I'd just received confirmation of the Athena Fellowship. Inside, I was screaming. Outside, I remained composed. Years of Evelyn's strong, she'll figure it out. Years of Madison's needs eclipsing everything. My hands trembled, barely concealed by the program clutched in my lap. They had no idea what I was capable of. Ever felt unseen, underappreciated? Stick around, hit subscribe because the reversal coming is delicious, and you absolutely don't want to miss how Evelyn finally gets the recognition she deserves. May 17, 2005. It began subtly. For Madison's Sweet 16, there was the cherry red convertible, complete with a giant bow. I received a used laptop, its screen flickering ominously, and a lecture on financial responsibility. It's about priorities, Evelyn, my father had declared, oblivious to the irony. The metallic scent of the new car hung in the air, a constant reminder. Then came the college applications. Madison's guidance counselor practically lived at our house, helping her craft the perfect essays, arranging campus visits to ivy-covered halls. Meanwhile, I navigated the process alone, hunched over library computers after my shift at the diner, the smell of grease clinging to my clothes. Just apply somewhere practical, my mother advised, her voice laced with a familiar dismissiveness. August 22, 2008. The final straw came during Madison's going-away party before she left for Europe, a gap year fully funded to find herself. The party buzzed with excitement, glasses clinking, laughter echoing through the backyard. I was relegated to refilling the snack bowls, invisible against the backdrop of the festivity. I overheard my aunt say, "Madison's so lucky, she has so much potential." The words hung in the air like smoke. That night, alone in my room, I stared at the acceptance letter from MIT's summer research program. A program Madison had scoffed at when I first mentioned it. That was the moment I stopped seeking their validation. I decided that they would never know the extent of my accomplishments, not until I was ready. My success began building, brick by painstaking brick. The Athena Fellowship was my first significant milestone, a signal that my efforts were paying off. Then came the internships at Goldman Sachs and McKinsey, each one a stepping stone, each one concealed from my family's view. I thrived in the cutthroat world of finance, learning the rules, mastering the game. No lavish vacations, no designer clothes, no outward displays of wealth. The silence was strategic. It was a shield, a way to protect myself from their inevitable attempts to claim credit, to diminish my achievements. Each promotion, each bonus was a secret treasure, fueling my ambition, solidifying my resolve. My parents remained oblivious, content in their narrative of Madison's potential and Evelyn's self-sufficiency. Madison's career will be exciting. Evelyn, you are so steady and reliable, they'd say, without a trace of irony. There was a certain satisfaction in playing this role, in knowing the truth they were so blind to. Graduation neared, and with it, the moment of potential revelation. The university had requested I speak at the commencement ceremony, an honor I initially declined. The thought of standing on that stage, in front of my family, filled me with dread and a strange sense of anticipation. To reveal it or not, the pressure was immense. I could maintain the facade, perpetuate the lie, or I could finally claim my narrative. But did I want to? The morning of the ceremony dawned bright and clear. My stomach churned with anxiety. I could almost taste the stale coffee of the diner and feel the phantom ache of my late-night library study sessions. It was time to choose. The email arrived at 6:00 a.m. sharp. Family reunion announcement. The subject line alone sent a jolt through me. I hadn't seen them collectively in years. It was to celebrate Madison's engagement, a lavish affair at the family's old summer house on Cape Cod. July 4th weekend, of course. My initial reaction was a visceral rejection. But then, a different kind of calculation began. This was opportunity. I exhaled slowly. Time to prepare. I spent the next few weeks meticulously planning my casual arrival. A vintage Porsche, subtly restored, seemed appropriate. My wardrobe, carefully curated. Each piece whispered quiet wealth. No flashy logos, just impeccable tailoring and understated elegance. I even practiced my surprised expression in the mirror, a touch of amusement flickering in my eyes. The day arrived sweltering. As I pulled into the driveway, the scene was precisely as I'd pictured it. Croquet on the lawn, laughter echoing from the patio, my mother orchestrating everything with manic energy. The smell of barbecue hung heavy in the air, mingling with the salt-laced breeze. I could hear the waves crashing in the distance. My parents stood near the house, their backs to me. My mother's blue dress looked hideous. My father was balding. I paused, taking a deep breath. This was it. The car door slammed shut, the sound cutting through the chatter. Heads turned, my mother gasped. "Evelyn, what are you doing here?" she asked, a flicker of unease in her voice. My father stared, speechless. Madison rushed forward, her smile strained. "Wow, Ev, long time no see, we didn't expect you." They still had no idea. "Really? After all those phone calls you thought I wouldn't come?" I asked, projecting an air of casual amusement, carefully masking the steel beneath. The Porsche gleamed, a subtle statement against the backdrop of their carefully curated summer scene. Silence fell. Forks stopped mid-air. Conversations died. Every eye was on me. My mother recovered first, her voice regaining its familiar edge. "We just assumed you were too busy. With work." Her eyes flickered nervously towards my father, who remained frozen, his mouth slightly agape. Madison's smile tightened, revealing a hint of panic. They were starting to suspect. "Good. Busy, yes," I conceded, stepping closer. The scent of gardenias wafted from a nearby bush. "But never too busy for family." I paused, letting the words hang in the air. "Especially when there's cause for celebration." Reaching into the car, I pulled out a slim, leather-bound portfolio. The logo of the Athena Foundation gleamed subtly in the sunlight. I held it out, presenting it to my father with a flourish. I wanted to share some exciting news. He took it hesitantly, his fingers trembling slightly. The tension was palpable. He opened the portfolio, his eyes scanning the first page. His face drained of color. My mother peered over his shoulder, her expression shifting from unease to disbelief. Madison craned her neck, her eyes widening in confusion. The document contained a detailed breakdown of my professional accomplishments. Athena Fellowship, Harvard MBA, Senior Vice President at BlackRock. My father sputtered, his voice barely above a whisper. He looked at me, then back at the document, then back at me again, as if trying to reconcile the words on the page with the image he had of me in his mind. A recruiter from J.P. Morgan stepped forward. "Ms. Hayes, I must say, the work you've done with the Athena Foundation is revolutionary. May I offer you my card?" The woman handed me her card. She completely ignored my parents. My mother gasped, clutching her chest. "But how? We didn't know." Her voice trailed off, laced with a mixture of shock and something akin to fear. Madison stumbled back, her face pale. The carefully constructed narrative of their lives had shattered, replaced by a reality they were ill-equipped to comprehend. Their world spun on its axis. "There's a lot you don't know," I said calmly, my voice steady. "I've been rather busy." The power had shifted. The game had changed. And I was finally holding all the cards. The silence stretched, thick with unspoken questions. The moment was ripe. My mother, regaining composure first, fumbled, "Evelyn, darling, why didn't you tell us? We could have," I cut her off, "helped, like you did with Madison's gap year." The contrast was stark. "You laughed then, you're not laughing now." Internally, I felt a pang of sadness, but the years of neglect hardened my resolve. It was my turn. My father, ever the pragmatist, spoke next. "This fellowship, does it come with a stipend? Madison and Ben are struggling with the wedding costs." The blatant request, so transparent, fueled my amusement. "Stipend? Hardly relevant at this point, Dad. BlackRock offers a generous benefits package, including financial planning assistance for family members. Perhaps Ben should consider a consultation." I smiled, saccharine sweet. The move was calculated, each word a precise cut. Silence was my weapon. Madison, finally finding her voice, interjected, "Ev, seriously, this is insane. Why keep it a secret? I could have introduced you to people." "Introduced me to your friends, Madison, the ones who thought I was the poor, hardworking sister." A rhetorical question, a perfect encapsulation of our dynamic. Her face flushed. My mother tried a different approach. "Evelyn, sweetheart, we're so proud. We always knew you were capable." She reached for my arm, her touch feeling foreign, unwelcome. I withdrew, stepping back. "Did you? Because it felt a lot like you were waiting for Madison to succeed." "The truth is, Mother, you only see what you want to see. And you missed a lot." Her grip tightened. Her eyes flashed with anger, but I held my ground, unwavering. I could use a little help with my portfolio, Madison offered, her voice laced with false sweetness. Since you're, so successful, I turned to her, my gaze direct. My time is valuable, Madison, just like yours, but I can offer a referral. My assistant will contact you with rates. The words hung in the air, a perfect distillation of our new reality. Walking back to my car, I overheard my mother whisper to my father, "Maybe she'll pay for the wedding now." I paused, a faint smile playing on my lips. "Don't get your hopes up," I said, without turning around. The Porsche roared to life. "I prefer to invest in actual potential, not fleeting moments of marital bliss." And with that, I drove away, leaving them in the dust. 6 months after Madison's ill-fated engagement party, a registered letter arrived at my parents' doorstep. Inside, a meticulously drafted legal document, a notice of default on their mortgage. The summer house, the very symbol of their perceived success, was on the brink of foreclosure. It was an asset they valued above all else, a tangible representation of their social standing. Their faces paled. The house was the gift my grandmother gave my parents. They believed it was untouchable. I had bought the mortgage. The loan, originally secured decades ago, had been quietly acquired by a shell corporation I controlled, a detail cleverly obscured by layers of legal obfuscation. "How could you?" My mother's voice cracked over the phone, barely audible above the static. "That house, it's everything to us." "Everything to you," I corrected, my voice calm, almost detached. "It was a symbol of the imbalance. Now it's a business transaction." My father, usually stoic, pleaded. "Evelyn, please, we can make payments, we just need time." Physical shaking was audible in his voice. "Time, a commodity I wasn't afforded, remember. The terms are clear. The loan is due, the house is collateral." The quiet confidence was like a punch in the gut. The shock was palpable. The realization dawned, I controlled their most prized possession. A gasp escaped my mother's lips and the phone went dead. The silence was deafening. I had strategically created the perfect trap and knew that I would be able to move the chess pieces exactly where I needed to and when. My power was solidified. Years passed. My parents, humbled, made sporadic attempts to reconnect, their apologies laced with self-pity. I remained selective, offering measured responses, financial assistance for necessities, but holding firm on emotional distance. Madison eventually contacted me, genuinely seeking understanding, and our relationship thawed, though carefully. My life transformed. No longer burdened by the need to prove myself, I focused on my passions, establishing a foundation to support underprivileged students. The constant scrutiny faded, replaced by a quiet sense of self-worth. The diner was a distant memory. Looking back, I acknowledged the cost. The family I craved was irrevocably broken, yet I gained something far more valuable, the freedom to define myself, my success, on my own terms. In the end, power wasn't about wealth or revenge, but about owning my truth. Psst, satisfying, right? If Evelyn's win resonates, share this. Her story proves success beats revenge every time. Now go build your empire.